Praise the Lord, everybody. Welcome to another Link Couples Ministry. We're so glad you joined us this evening, every third Tuesday of the month. We're excited about you all being on. This is our ministry for our married as well as engaged couples. I'm Pastor Nick, the executive pastor here at Bethany Church, the Transformation Church of New Jersey. This is my lovely wife, Reverend Tiffany Smith, and we're just so glad that you have joined us today. Please do us a favor and share. Get somebody on. We'd love for you to tag somebody. Again, this is our ministry for all married as well as engaged couples. This year, we've been married for 15 years this year. So we got a little time. We've been together since we were 16. No, you were 17. I was 16.
Oh, my Lord.
She's older than me. So she's 16. I was a junior in high school. You were going into your senior year, right? I was going to my junior year, and I was telling my friends I'm dating a senior year. Just
Oh my God.
you flaunt a little bit. You talk trash. So we've been together for a long time, and just kind of talking from Scripture. And I say all to say we're talking from experience, from Scripture, from life, from what we learned from others, what we learned in our own relationships, and we hope that you all are enjoying these particular topics. Now, I was on my own. She left me hanging the past 2 months.
You didn't ask me.
I did ask you.
You did
I think
not
I did,
ask me. No.
Well, I forgot. That's why. But she still left me hanging.
This guy.
I thought I asked you.
No.
We talked about passion, right? And we talked a lot about how passion is intentional in a relationship. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't come on a whim. And I think sometimes if we watch too many if you watch too many, Maya's shaking her head.
Lifetime movies.
Nothing. If you watch too many of a certain type of movie, it's all flowery roses. It just happens to just be, when the reality is that initial phase is great, but eventually it kind of does. The excitement, if you're not careful, will start to fade over time because real life starts to kick in. You start to notice, especially if you've been married the first couple of months, it's all just, and then life kicks in and you realize that it's not easy to work, do all this stuff, and then have kids and then bring all that in. You have to be intentional about passion, intentional about intimacy. Mm-hmm. And you're a therapist. You have your degree in therapy and psychology, all that good stuff. So she brings a plethora of experience talking about this passion topic. And we talked about celebrating each other. That helps out. We talked about passion and serving, that serving one another builds passion. Mm-hmm. And today we're going to hit on 3 points, and I'm going to let you just kind of run with most of these. Just setting it all up for you. We're going to talk about emotional intimacy, mm-hmm. psychological intimacy, and physical intimacy. A lot of people put the physical first. But if all you have is physical, eventually that desire is going to wane mm-hmm. when you lack the emotional and the psychological. Mm-hmm. So if act like I'm not your husband right now, if I'm coming to you with, theoretically speaking here, my spouse, my significant other, and we're having issues with emotional intimacy, mm-hmm. One wants to be physical, one wants to be whatever, and there's a click because there's not that emotional connection. Mm-hmm. Can you define emotional intimacy, creating it, sustaining it? You do marriage counseling. I know what I think, but just kind of throw it at you, and you rock and roll.
Okay, whether it's like such a huge question to answer, but on the way here, I was just thinking about how important it is that individuals have like a good sense of self, and that it's really hard to cultivate passion and fire with someone when you're not a nice person, and how important just like basic fruits of the spirit is in building connection. Because if you are a loving person, kind, patient, you have self-control, and you have this like individual growth, a sense of value, that you are valuable and you bring value to a relationship. You can forgive easily. You don't keep records of wrongs, you are growing individually, then it makes you a more lovable person. And then when you're a lovable person, that helps you be more compassionate toward your partner. You're kind to them. You're easier to like show mercy and empathy toward them. And that creates a safe place for them to be open with you and be vulnerable. And it helps to build connection. So you get heat from that, right? From being kind to your partner and reaching out to them, not with just your physical body, but with your emotions, with your compassion. And you just can't do that unless you have that. You can't give what you don't possess, you know? So it's hard to give someone more than just your body if that's all you have to offer.
Right. That you're more valuable than your body. Now that's more, and I'm not trying to be misogynistic. I know a lot of sensitivity's going on. That's more of a woman's struggle than a male struggle.
What part?
I have more bringing more than my body to the table. You know, here's why. Most men, it's like, yeah, I'm bringing my body, but most sane men, our first thought is care, financially, provision. Can I take care of a family? Can I protect my family? Not just most men aren't geared that their value is in their body, in their shape.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. Most criticism of most men is not necessarily look. Y'all get way more criticism about looks than we do. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You guys are, it's different.
Yeah.
And it's unfair in a lot of ways too for y'all also, because y'all get it from both sides. Men and women criticize women. Most men don't walk around criticizing another man's body, but you go online, you hear women criticizing. Come on, let's be real here. So that's why I said I put that in that framework of that context.
Yeah, I get it.
That emotional intimacy is connecting on a deeper level beyond just what my body brings to the table, but also what my provision brings to the table also.
Yes.
I remember Bishop said something years ago. As a man, you can't just I pay the mortgage, I pay the bills on the table, I pay the heat, and that's all I got to do. If you got a dog and a cat, they benefit from a mortgage, heat. You know what I'm saying? You have to bring more to the table. Most women are taught to bring their emotions to the table. Most men are taught to bring their provision and their physicality to the table, and will kind of keep their emotions like this, you know? But I think those things need to be worked out before marriage.
For sure.
Not, because sometimes the thought is if I get married, all of a sudden it'll change. And there's no switch at the altar where it automatically turns on.
Yeah, for sure.
So like you said, there's got to be emotional honesty with ourselves. And then that willingness to create that safe place so I can share my emotions with my significant other. And my significant other can share their emotions with me. And it's safe. Even if it's a hard thing to hear, I love you and trust you enough to know that you have my best interest at heart. Yeah. And you're not saying this to hurt me. You're saying this to help.
Yeah. Can I, so there is, this tool I've been I've been talking to my clients a lot recently, which we call like emotionally focused therapy. And in the cycle of relationships, what we call a negative cycle, we start with like there's an alarm that goes off. Like if there's an event that happens where you don't feel emotionally safe, a lot of couples go right to the reaction. Then there's a story that we tell ourselves about the person, about ourselves, and about the connection. And then there's a coping mechanism because of that. And sometimes we loop into this cycle, both partners feeding each other with reactions. Right. And one of the things I think women, like you were saying, are guilty of is we think that because we are more emotional that we're communicating better. And sometimes we're both just reacting in different ways, you know, whether it's like, I'm like, you don't understand me. We get tearful. We think I'm trying to tell him, but what we're really doing is just coping, and we're allowing them to, we're talking about, our reaction to things that have happened and why we're triggered versus problem solving And what you're alluding to is the necessity of going to the primary need, like, and being able to communicate with your partner in a safe way what you need.
Right.
And you'd be surprised how many times I'm talking to people who are reacting to things and talking about situational alarm systems that are going off. And when I say, well, what do you need? And they're like, I don't know. I don't know. And the person is asking them, what do you need? How can I fix it? How can I fix it? And they're like, I don't know. And that's because what we're doing is talking about how we're protecting ourselves from the person. So we'll say things to our partner like, you're not listening. And they're like, how can I listen better? What do you need me to understand? I don't know. You know, and they're like, well, then how can I help you?
If you don't even know.
No. But that's usually because we're protecting ourselves from some type of need, whether it's the need for attachment, the need for being cared for being loved. And if we're going to build passion with someone and you want them to build an emotional connection, you got to get to that. You have to be able to communicate what your needs are in a safe way. A lot of couples can't, they struggle with that, like getting to the core of the issue. And what do you need from the person? We just keep talking about the problem and we can't communicate about how to solve it.
Instead of just saying, I'm scared.
Yes.
It's all of this other stuff. You're not listening to me, not I don't feel valued.
Right.
I don't feel cared for. But again, how are you mad at somebody? Like you said, if you don't even know what the real issue is, they don't know how to fix it. But what I've learned from some of them, like you said, they're protective. They're just afraid to say it.
Yes.
I'm scared to admit to myself how I really feel. And if I'm scared to admit it to me, I'm afraid to admit it to you. Because I find it embarrassing. I find it hard. But the reality is that your spouse may not find it embarrassing.
Right. Yeah.
You're the one living in shame about it. The person's like, oh, that's it?
I got you.
We're cool. We can work this out. And we're like, really? Yeah. But that goes back to that safety and that trust.
Yeah.
And for there to be emotional intimacy, trust, and safety have to be paramount.
Yeah.
Because you watch them old couples, they don't look the same like they did when they were 20, 30. They 70 some years old, but they walking around the store still holding hands. You know, I remember I always got to the store and they were flirting. They had to be like in their 70s, just flirting with each other. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about right there. But you can tell they have an emotional intimacy beyond, you know, they have an intimacy beyond just looks, because looks will change. You know, and you need something that's going to sustain you after gravity sets in, time sets in, and you don't snap back like you used to. But that emotional intimacy.
Yeah. It kind of covers you from that. You still see the person and what they bring to the table and how much you value them and need them. Like, that is what passion really is about, you know, because then when things start to drop and you don't feel good about yourself, but you have that partner right next to you, taking care of you, listening, like that, you know, that's love.
Yeah, it is. And this creates that bond, but this takes time. It goes through trial and error, testing, all those things. Because emotional intimacy is important. And then psychological intimacy. Not only can we feel each other, but can we talk to each other's brains, our logic? You know, we're interconnected beings.
Yeah.
As quiet as it's kept, you want to marry somebody that's intelligent. Somebody can pique your interest. You know, it was yesterday, it was Sunday or one of these days. I'm like, I got a nerdy theology thought. I'm sitting there talking about just this nerdiest thing. I'm sorry. I was just in my brain thinking about some real Bible theology, nerd, doctrinal stuff. And she sits there and listens to me. She goes along with it, asks me questions. I'm just like, sorry, I just wanted to get...
And I'm like, stop apologizing. Just talk it through.
And I'm talking it through.
I'm like, I have questions.
But there's a psychological...
Yeah.
We connect on these different levels. So, you know, not to say that everybody has to be intelligent the same way, but are you intelligent in what you're intelligent in?
Right.
And do I value the difference in intelligence? That she's smarter than me than I am at some things. I'm smart at her things. And we don't feel bad about it. We bring those two geniuses together. And I value it. And when she's talking to me about something that she's extremely intelligent in, and vice versa, are we actually interested? Yeah. Or it's like, oh, here we go.
Like, I really don't care.
You know, yeah, just you may feel that internally, but your face has to, you know,
And it goes with something that you're touching on, though, that is so key too is value systems, right? So having like-mindedness when you're in a relationship with someone in the beginning and doing that work before you get married is important. So you could value the same things but differently, but it helps to have similar values, right? So if like one of the things we both valued was friendship, and that has saved us through so much, just how much we were so loyal to each other and had such a good friendship because we valued friendship. We communicated well because no matter what happened, we were like, we're friends. You know, you were the person I go to. And even if we disagreed in some areas, we came back to that core of like, you know, this is my friend. So what can we do to build it? It was always about resolving it and coming back together versus people thinking that conflict means that we need to end it. You know, we were always thinking about how to fix it because we want it to be in each other's lives. So values are important with building emotional intimacy and trust.
And that friendship allows me to value what you value. Like I use, for example, she loves home decor, outside flowers and stuff. I honestly could care less. You know what I'm saying? She's like, I want to do this roundhouse. Go ahead, do it. I come home, stuff's done. I'm like, I don't care, just do it. She be talking to me about it. I'm like, okay, cool. But I gotta be interested to a certain degree. I said to a certain degree. I didn't say all the way. A certain degree.
I know.
You know, because if it excites you, then cool, because I want the same consideration too. Where if I'm talking about something, she be like, okay, that's cool. And she would be really, and I'm like, I know she don't really care about this, but it's just, but that friendship allows that conversation to happen
because you want the person to feel cared for, even if you have different interests. You know, and as a therapist, sometimes I have to remind couples one of the worst things you can do is condemn your partner's internal process, and we can inadvertently do that by tone of voice, by just like. You know, we have these like mannerisms and body language that just says like, you know, like our partner's talking and sharing something that they're concerned about. And we're just like,
here we go.
and doing those things. And I always have to stop them when that happens in therapy and tell them like, that is very off-putting. You may disagree, but this is their process that they're trying to share with you. And we don't always understand what that takes for someone to look to you and say, I'm trying to tell you what I need right now. We're like, I hear you, I'm listening, you know, but it can make the person feel shut down and devalued and minimized and dismissed. And when that inserts itself into a relationship, then your passion and your desire for the person, like it takes a hit and you don't want that. That's not the goal. The goal is to build passion. And in order to do that, safety is key. You don't want to shoot holes in the boat when you both need it to survive. You know what I mean? Taking digs, and like I don't care. All right, I hear you. I heard you. I said it.
You got to care about what's important to the person.
Yes.
So you know, it's what's the bishop say? It's a bad frog doesn't praise his own pound. You know, it's the person shouldn't be getting all their attaboys from outside. You know, if she does something great. You know, I have to be her biggest cheerleader in that. Not that other people can't praise or celebrate or do all that, but it's a hard thing. Everybody, that was so, and she come to me and I'm just like, oh, hi, that was cool. Anyways, what's for dinner? It's like, you know, and vice versa. It's like, well, dang, you didn't care at all, did you? I was excited about it. Oh, did you see so and so? We did, and it's like, that's cool. You know, but again, it goes back to care. In value. And when I value you, you value me. What's important to me is important to you, and vice versa. It may not be as important, but it is important though. But that goes back to, as Paul says, considering the other more than yourself, thinking beyond yourself. So what we're basically alluding to, we got to get out of here soon, is most of you jump to physical connection, physical intimacy. But all this other intimacy makes the physical intimacy more solid, more intense, and better. As Bishop says it like this, you know, the intimacy outside the bedroom builds the intimacy in the bedroom. Because if all you have is intimacy in the bedroom and it's hell outside the bedroom, guess what's going to happen eventually? That bedroom will start shutting down. Right? You know, the one feeds the other. And, you know, talk to us about, especially because men, sometimes we have a tendency of focusing only on the physical part. and not caring about the woman's emotional, psychological needs. Because, physically we can just,
Yeah.
the woman's like, but I need to be able to connect with you. Let's talk. How was your day? What's going on? And then in turn, when she feels that physical, that emotional, psychological connection, you'll, with the right woman, the physical will go along with it. Right? And even with some men too, we can be physically connected to you, but your heart and mind somewhere else.
It goes both ways.
Yeah. So it's, and she thinks because he's physical, because in her mind, if I'm physically intimate, my heart and mind is in it. His mind is like, no, I can do this, and my heart and mind I'm ready for something, it's completely somewhere else. So there's got to be some consideration in there, where it's safe for him, safe for her, and that builds the physical connection. So go ahead.
It's too the you can't be selfish.
Yes.
Like, so that is what I'm hearing, and what you're saying too is like, if I use sex or intimacy or physical intimacy to not have conversations, or that's just what I want, it'll shut you up, all that kind of stuff, that, nobody wants that. Nobody wants you to feel like, let me just get it over with.
Right.
And sometimes that's what we do that, like, cause it's fine, and then we'll just, and some women that I know, as a therapist will be like, I can't do it if I don't want to. If I'm not connected, and I'm like, sis, like, I get that. However, it's about meeting each other's needs. So you have to be able to trust each other enough to say, hey, listen, I'm not connected because this is happening with me emotionally. This is where I'm at. This is what I need from you. But if you're not saying that, and you're walking around mad and then withholding intimacy, and then be like, because I just don't feel like it. I'm irritated. I had a long day. I'm not into it like he is. Like, I get that. But the selfishness, like, in the way that kills passion in your marriage, because you're not in it by yourself. And so both parties, even the man, has to be able to say, hey, listen, if there's a disconnect, and then I can't just say, today is the day today. Do we need to put it on the calendar? Instead of doing the work to say, something's missing, babe. What is it? Is there something I can do? Is there something that you need? That's the trust and the safety. Because if you do that, listen, we're not naive to say that all relationships are going to be without hard times, and that sometimes you don't feel disconnected and angry with each other, and like, I'm over it, right? We all have those moments, but you got to be able to come back to the primary need and talk about those things so that you can get back. Because I think we had a conversation once. I was like, yo, that was great. Like, the conversation, you were like, but it goes from like, hey, share your mind now.
Yeah. But
it helps to build the passion once you connect to each other.
It does. Y'all thought I was crazy. So, but I think it goes back to, for a man, right? If he knows his woman is having a hard time, he has to be very much understanding.
Yeah.
And not just understanding of, I get it, but how can I foster an environment where outside the house, you're going through it at work, you're going through it with family, you're going through it so and so, but around here, you feel safe.
Yes.
So tonight, let's just talk. Let's just, I'll be there for you. I'll hold you. There are other forms of intimacy that create a connection because, like you said, you brought the woman's side, I'm bringing the man's side up. It's not like, well, it's been a day, go on, you know what I'm saying? And but you haven't fostered that, you haven't fostered that environment for her to feel like you actually care for her. She don't want to feel like you're using her for her body. Where that's all, No,
right.
And the more careful she feels, the more she becomes open to you. We talking grown in here.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think that goes back to that entitlement.
Yeah, and that being too transactional.
From both sides. And it's a privilege to be able to do this. So both people have to be able to know what the other needs. We got to go. What the other needs, and make that connection from emotional, psychological, and a physical connective way.
Yeah.
And what's wrong with just every now and then a text message or a touch that doesn't lead to something bigger? You know what I'm saying? Women, you're a woman. That's huge for a lot of y'all. It's just you know, because you want to know that you care about me.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And okay,
Yes.
it's really it's
Yeah.
and even men, the older we get, the more we want to feel like we're cared for.
Mm-hmm.
You value me beyond just my ability to, you know, pay your car note, pay the mortgage, and you know, make enough money so you can buy the shoes. We want to know you value us more than just that.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of marriages out there where some men, they don't feel valued
Yeah.
only for what they bring to the table financially.
Mm-hmm.
And he's tapping out after a while because I don't want to feel like I'm being just used for your benefit and I get nothing from it. All we're saying is be good to each other. That's all. All right, we got to go. You got to get out of here. So thank y'all for joining us tonight. We'll probably pick this up and do something else more on this. We hope you enjoyed it tonight. Please do us a favor, share with somebody, tag somebody. So glad you joined us. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for Bible study, 12 noon in person only, in the evening at 7 o'clock in person as well as online. God bless you all. We'll see you next month for the link.